pledge allegiance to the flag Okay, Nathan.
All right.
Do you have the full agenda?
First thing, quickly, updates on the courthouse project. Not a whole lot to add since we just met last week, but I did want to let you know that I submitted the fourth disbursement request last week in the amount of $154,686.94, leaving us with an unexpended balance of $1,601,567.26 in the tranche held by First National, notwithstanding any interest to be reported on our next statement. Our owner's contingency has a current balance of $448,013.09, notwithstanding the value of the two outstanding time and materials change orders or interest to be reported on our next statement. Grading for the slab has been completed, and Delta 3 is now in the process of pouring stone. Ton & Blank hopes to make the first concrete pour by the end of this week. As you're aware, Commissioner Lamer authorized a time and materials change order, one of the two to which I just referenced, request late last week to allow Ton & Blank to proceed with some unexpected, fairly minor work on the flat sections of the roof, where previous repair jobs seemingly had prioritized speed and cost over quality. Otherwise, things are moving smoothly, with several trades working on installation work and the masons grinding out the old exterior mortar. Questions or comments on the project?
That's been removed.
Most of the vat removals occurred. There's a little bit left to be done, particularly up into the clock and bell tower, but it is mostly done, and the cleanup behind that is underway. And so Ton & Blank will be able to start getting in there to do removal of the old ductwork and other things pretty soon. All right, moving along, the Willow Creek Villas low interest loan. Attorney Tankersley has been working with Sullivan Development and their attorneys to fine tune these documents. And if I understand where things stand correctly right now, we have them for your approval of their general form this evening.
Yeah, I'll comment on that. So I have been in touch over the last couple of weeks with Sullivan Development and then their attorneys. And what we have now, let's just start with what the purpose of this loan is. The purpose of this loan, and it's stated in our loan agreement, is to provide local assistance to create affordable housing in Pulaski County, Indiana, through the Indiana Housing Community Development Authority. This loan will serve as the county contribution, which you guys already pre-approved and gave a letter of support to Nathan for, to the borrower to develop housing that will utilize the low-income housing tax credit, or the LIHTC program, which is a federal program offering assistance to developers to develop low-income housing units. And in exchange, they have rent-controlled units, which is what you'll end up with through this program. And this is, if you don't know, this is for the land that Willow Creek Villas actually LP, which is a subsidiary of Sullivan Development, has bought some ground behind Sanders. They're going to replat that with the town, create lots with. They bought about 8 acres from SVG, which was the Steve and Vicky Galbraith company. That will be divided into lots, and one of the lots will contain this development. We have a special legal description they had a surveyor create that we're going to integrate into these documents. The important thing for you tonight, I guess, is to reaffirm that you indeed want to make this loan. And to be clear, let's just look at the loan agreement. We have 3 documents: a loan agreement, a promissory note, and a mortgage. Promissory note and mortgage are pretty straightforward. The loan agreement is, I guess, just the synopsis of what you're doing. You're participating in this program, giving a $350,000 loan out of, these are out of funds that Nathan has in his department already, is my understanding, right, Nathan?
It's on the agenda for the council
Okay. All right. And this could be a 2% loan for 20 years, so very generous involvement by the county. And you're basically your first money in and your last money out. So Mike asked me, is this a good deal? Nobody would do this if they weren't the county trying to create affordable housing in their community for the taxpayers. So yes, I don't think it's an unreasonable risk of money, but you need to understand that you are going to be subordinate. This is, I think they estimate, and I could be off on their numbers, but about a $7 or $8 million project building these units, and you're the first 350,000, but you will be the most subordinate mortgage. They're going to need lenders to come in, have their liens ahead of yours. So you're writing a check first, and you're going to be last on the lien as a lien holder. So you're really betting that this is going to work for the taxpayers, and you're going to get hopefully some affordable housing out of it. And it is a competitive program, and our community was selected through the work of Nathan's office. So I'm certainly not against it. I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate as far as the risk you're taking. The promissory note's pretty straightforward, 350,000 at 2% over 20 years, and there's just going to be an amortization schedule, which we already shared with them. Comes out to about $1,700 a month that they're going to pay, and there's a mortgage, which is the reason we need to just get approval of the general form of this loan and these documents. What I'm asking you to do is approve the general form of them, the contents of the loan, and then give authority to Nathan to attend a closing, to sign the documents at a closing, because there's going to be a bunch of different players involved in this loan. They're going to do one closing. I don't know where they'll end up doing it, and then record these documents in the right succession after the fact. So Nathan's going to most likely show up with a $350,000 check and then get a mortgage and promissory note in exchange for that. But when that will be and where that will be exactly, I don't know. Their attorney doesn't know yet, so we weren't able to finish the documents. But I don't think anything substantive is going to change. He's going to share them with me before the closing, and I'll share them with you. But if there's no substantive changes, there shouldn't be another need to come back and give authority to approve it again. You really need to have one person sign these and attend this closing. So unless one of you guys wants to do it, I would recommend you have Nathan do it. Do you have any other questions about this?
Not necessarily in the documents, but I think maybe clarification when we say low-income housing, some people get a little nervous. And this is graduated.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have the exact numbers, but there are 3 tiers, something like 30, 40, and 60% of the median household income in the area. So while I think vouchers might be allowed as supplemental to the household income, they actually have to have W-2 household income to qualify to reside in these properties. And the one other thing that they just happened to mention was, let's say I'm in that bottom tier and I get a better job, and there's a little bit of a delay between when my pay increase happens and when I actually have to start paying at that second tier of rent, so that it's not an automatic transition in their household wealth status, but it is reflected so that if people who are able to take advantage of this opportunity do get a raise, get a better job, they can still stay in it until they actually cap out of the whole program, so they're not going to be run out.
Thank you, Nathan. So we need tonight then is just a general approval to move forward with what Kevin and Nathan has put before us.
Before you do that, I would add 2 things. One, just because, as I mentioned, council still has on their agenda to approve the additional. After this, you may want to frame the motion. You authorize it pending council approval of the addition. And then I did want to note, Kevin brought up, yes, we are not going to be the first lien holder. I discussed this with the developers, and yes, we're not forced. That happened. But even though it is a $8 or $9 million project, because of the way it is structured with the housing tax credits, the first lien holder is only in for about $1 million of that. So there is going to be, in as long as anything worst case happens after the project has been built, there's going to be more than enough equity to cover both mortgages on the property.
Would it be best, Kevin, if a commissioner was to sign it rather than Nathan?
That would be fine. Suggestion. So you got time. Go to a closing. Then that'd be great. I think there might be more than one mortgage before you. Like I said, that still is. They work with CREA, which is another financial advisor in the affordable housing market. To be honest with you, this is all new territory, so I'm learning a little bit as we go. But I can tell you from what I have done, that I think there might be 2 or 3 different financial backers. But what Nathan said still holds true. I think tension is with tax credits. They're going to have a property that still keep you fully collateralized, even if you're last. So, but like I said, there's certainly some risk to loan. I think reason. But yeah, if you want to go, Chuck, that would be great. So I think just approve them in form, and then subject to the problem is coming back, having us another meeting before they have I don't know when they're going to time this closing, and we're going to have the documents done. These things tend to happen, fairly quickly and last minute. So if you could approve the loan, and then unless there's some other major change, if there's a major change, I'll just tell them we got to have another meeting.
So we just need to approve the loan agreement. General.
Give you authority to sign at closing for the commission.
I'll make a motion.
Hey, I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Worded sufficiently?
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, then I have one last thing, and then we can wrap up. The Pleasant View Village housing development. It's been several months since we discussed this project, the one that had been proposed for county-owned farm property on the south side of County Road 60 South. That was sort of one of the primary outcomes of the work that we had done with the housing consultants that the Community Foundation had brought to Pulaski County. Kevin, Winnemac Town Attorney Justin Schramm, and the Housing Resource Hub's attorneys all had signed off on the language in the pre-development services agreement that the Hub had drafted, and I had made some revisions to with assistance from Kevin. But we had kept it on ice for a number of reasons. I'm here to inform you tonight that we have tentatively been allocated $1 million from the Indiana Economic Development Corporation's Ready To program to support this project. The town and I still have to work through some of the details about the project, and they're signing off on that agreement before I take it to the Redevelopment Commission. But if we make it through the IEDC's scrutiny of their review after it's gone past from the Northwest Indiana Forum down to them, and part of that is going to be dependent on the results of the pre-development services, then we're going to have a significant cash injection to help reduce the burden on any local entities in our quest to expand options for reasonably priced quality homes in the county. And that's going to be leveraged by the equity the county has in owning the land rather than having to secure acquisition from private property, and from potentially a bond issued by the Redevelopment Commission to fund utility development. So we have we've received first stage approval of $1 million to put toward that project. That is all I have for the commissioners this evening.
So what if the project doesn't continue on? You received $1 million.
We won't get that money until it's actually moving forward. It's reimbursable, so we'll get the invoices from the utility contractor or the housing or whatever and submit those for payment.
All reimbursable. Any other questions for Nathan? Or Kevin, anything else? Okay, being a special session, and that's what is on the agenda. Motion to adjourn.
Okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.